Good afternoon. I was working in the safety department for a manufacturing company, and one of our responsibilities in safety was to keep the injury illness records for the company. And one morning we had an incident that caused us to do some research, and that is we had an employee who had arrived at work, parked the car in the parking lot, was walking through the parking lot toward the building, and was hit by another employee in their vehicle who had also just arrived in the parking lot coming into work. Both of those employees received some injuries. So the question is, were those injuries work-related? Well, we did our research into 29 CFR 1904, that's OSHA's record-keeping standard, and we discovered that no, neither of those injuries is a recordable. And that's because both of those employees were considered to have been still in the commute from home to work. So anytime there's an injury, an illness occurring in the commuting phase, it is non-work related. My name is Bob Storey. I'm an OSHA authorized general industry outreach trainer, and I'm going to take you through some of the basics of record keeping. So the first question is, what do we have to record for work-related injuries and illnesses? And in 29 CFR 1904, OSHA tells us that first of all, it has to be a work-related case. And then secondly, it has to be a new case. And once we know that it's work-related, new case basically meaning we have not recorded it or it's not related to a previous entry. Then we look at our criteria that we find in 1904.7 through 11. That's considered to be the general criteria for record keeping. When it meets all three of these requirements, now we know we have to record this on our OSHA 300 log. And these are the forms, the paperwork that we use. The OSHA 300 is the log for work-related injuries, illnesses. The 300A is the annual summary. And the 301 is the incident report. Now OSHA says you may use the 301 form or its equivalent. They don't care what format you use as long as you have the information that's required on their 301. You could even use a computer database if that's the way you want to do it. Now let's find out how easy this really is. So we go to OSHA.gov, and this is their home page on the website. And we go to R. We click on R, and that brings us to the alphabetical R's. Well, let's go find record keeping right there. Click on record keeping. And now we're at the record keeping page. And here in the middle, we have record keeping forms. That's the link we want. So we click there and we come to the forms page. The best one to use is the Microsoft Excel. So we click on that link. Now, this brings up the option for us to either open these Excel forms or save them. Well, you can save these to your computer's hard drive, and I've already done that. So that's what we're going to use, is the version that I've saved on my hard drive. So in that regard, I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint and into the Excel. And this is the OSHA Form 301. This is the incident report. This is the form that you normally fill out first. So we get our OSHA Form 301 completed, and there is a very important aspect here, and that is the case number. So when you first fill this out, you may not know that case number yet. So we can leave that part of it blank. All right, once we have the OSHA Form 301 filled out, we now go to the 300 log. And I'm going to show you how to do this. It is very simple, very easy. We enter for case number 1. You can use any numbering system you choose, but 1, 2, 3, 4 is normally the numbering system. Employee's name, put in my name, Bob Storey. Now here with employee name, some cases will be considered privacy case, and that would be any kind of work-related injury, illness that relates to an intimate part of a person's body, anything that has to do with bloodborne pathogens, hepatitis B, HIV, or if the employee asks that their name not be entered on the log, then in these situations you use privacy case in the employee name column. Job title is trainer, and our next column is the date of injury, the 24th. Never have to put the year in, they are kept by calendar year. And where did the event occur? It was in the training room. A description is that the tripped, fell, and broke right wrist. The next column is G, and that's for death. I didn't die, so we won't put that in. Days away from work, did not lose any work days. However, I am right-handed, so with a broken right wrist, I do have a job restriction. Now, job restriction means that I cannot perform my normal job functions, and the normal job function is anything that an employee would do at least once a week. So if there's one thing that I would normally do and now I can't because my right wrist is in a cast, therefore I have the restriction. The next one is other. So if it was a simple injury, illness, was treated, they did not have lost work days, did not have a job restriction, there was no job transfer, then we would use an X there for other. Now we go to column K. K is for the number of days that a person is away from work, so we do not have that situation. But now we have the number of days that a person is in a job transfer or restriction category. And when I was treated at the facility, I was told to come back in 30 days. So we're going to put in the number 30. You always have to make an estimate of the number of days that this will exist. Column M, the first part here is for an injury, and that's what I have. The other columns under M are for illnesses. We have skin disorders, respiratory conditions, poisoning. Anytime you have a work-related injury or illness that involves chemicals, it is, you put a check mark there in poisoning. And then next is hearing loss. And the very last column out here is, again, other, all other. But that completes our entry on the 300. So now let's go to the 300A because I want to show you the interactiveness between the 300 and the 300A. So here on the 300A, we've already got it entered that there is one case with job restriction, there are 30 days of job restriction, and there is one case that is an injury. It automatically will update the 300A as you make those entries on the OSHA 300 log. The other thing to do with the 300A is to complete the right-hand column, which is the certification column. And the 300A has to be signed by the highest officer at that particular establishment. And then make sure that you post this 300A in a place that is conspicuous so that your employees will be able to see it, and it has to be posted from February 1st to April 30th of each calendar year.